All right. So on his other eye, his bottom lid is totally normal. Okay. Well, technically, if I put his nose there, I have to get that out. And so here's his third eyelid. Okay, that's sitting in there just absolutely perfect. All right. His pupil looks okay, and stuff. That's a normal eye. On him, his lower eyelid margin is absolutely perfectly fine. His pupil looks normal. His upper eyelid starts out, okay, over there, totally normal. His third eyelid is still here. It's buried beneath everything just fine. As soon as you start coming across, that eyelid margin is no longer there. And so what you have, instead of your normal eyelid with lashes, the reason his eyes are closing is there's nothing to keep, this is just haired skin. So all this hair starts rubbing on his cornea and is irritating the shit out of him.
Okay.
That's what he's got.
Now, is there anything you can do?
You have to make him a brand new eyelid from out of nothing. The question is, he is so young that if you do it to him now, he may very well outgrow it. And you're going to be doing it again and again and again. So what it really comes down to is when is he mature enough and big enough and old enough to go ahead and to make him a brand new eyelid margin, understanding that he ain't ever going to be 100% normal. What you're trying to do is to keep the hair from rubbing on his eyeball.
So
Because that's what's irritating him.
So that's surgery.
Oh, there's nothing you could do medically. You could medically give him, you'd have to, constantly do, some flushing with some tears, with some of the artificial tears or balanced saline solutions. It's inexpensive and easy enough to do. Every now and then he may need some antibiotics. It's possible if he goes a long time without really being treated, you could get a corneal abrasion or a little bit of an ulcer. But the thing that is doing this to him is the fact that his upper eyelid margins are not intact. They just didn't form. And that's the issue. Now, there are glands in your eyelid margins that help make portions of your tear film. So just like dogs that get older that have dry eye syndrome, because they're not making enough tears, he could prematurely have some issues with dry eyes because he doesn't have a normal eyelid margin.
Okay.
So
what, there's nothing then that can be done until he's an adult?
Well, you could. If I was going to be incredibly aggressive, I'd say, oh my God, leave him for surgery tomorrow. But taking a cat this age through, surgical procedures, especially, I would almost guarantee you, if you did it to him at this age, the likelihood of a single procedure working for his entire life is pretty puny. Because you know how fast they're going to grow. And there's no predicting, will he outgrow the procedure that you did, and then you have to go and do it again. So my feeling on him, I'll take him back and I'll look in his eyes. If I don't see any obvious corneal abrasions or issues already developing, you can treat him medically and let him get a little bit bigger and get a little bit stronger. And then you could consider going ahead and, because it also gives you a little bit more tissue to work with. This is like microsurgery, on him right now. But he was basically, in layman's terms, he was basically born without an eyelid.
Okay. So does he, is it like a super uber expensive surgery too, probably, huh?
Well, it's a major one, yeah. And the only reason why I couldn't say it would be wrong if you wanted to see an ophthalmologist, I could send you to the most reasonable one on the planet who's excellent, is that, you kind of sit here and go, okay, wherever there's one congenital defect, could there be another one with how the eye is made that we just can't see? And they have some of the special instruments that you could look in the back and just make sure that everything else is okay before you'd even commit to doing one of these procedures. But, that's kind of where he's at. It's not his third eyelid, it's his regular eyelid. His regular upper eyelids are not formed properly. And because of that, it's like you don't have a margin to, keep the hair out of, so it just lays down and goes right on his cornea, and he's always like this because it's like if you had hair in your eyes all the time. So the only way that you could fix that is not medically, it's physically. You have to physically reconstruct the barrier. You have to make him a new eyelid margin in order to help out with that. And what it really comes down to is, certainly you could consider doing that if there's no other ocular defects that are going to show up on a physical exam. And he's not going to die from this as long as somebody gives him consistent attention. It's not like he's going to get ulcers and stuff like that on his eyes. And you have the opportunity to get him a little bit bigger and a little bit healthier before you would necessarily go ahead and to do that, so you can make sure that if you're going to do it, you can hopefully just do it once and it'll last forever.
Okay. So like what, 1 year, 2 years?
Oh, I would do him before he's a year of age. I'm talking with where he is now. Even if you just waited for him to, hopefully get a couple to few months older, I would definitely do him prior to a year of age.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's just going to become too irritating for him.
Yeah.
By 2 years, there's no doubt, I'm sure he would have some corneal issues. There's no way
Okay.
you're going to keep him going for that long.
Okay,
Even
good.
a year may be pushing it, but it just depends. It just really depends on how he's going to grow and remodel. But that's basically what he's got. But let me just take him out, take a good look, and see if I can see anything in his eyes.
Okay.